YouTube. I mean, fuck Twitch. We gonna do a YouTube stream. Fuck that Twitch shit. Twitch lame as hell. I'm gonna put my restream up. This my first YouTube stream, man. Get it in. Restream. Oh, I'm putting up both chats just in case. Restream is just in case. Oh, give me all my shit. Always logging me out of my restream, bro. Like what? Why, bitch? God damn. Like, fuck. I get logged out my shit more than a motherfucker, bro. They just be doing that shit. Never mind, I can't log in. Damn, never mind. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to just do it right here. Fuck it. It's not showing up. I'm gonna have to use this one. I don't think I'm just gonna use it for right here in case anybody right it's not working on restream not working. I don't know why. But shit, fuck it. We got it right here though. And I can do it like this. Make it bigger. Hold on, no, not like that. Let me see. Boom.
This motherfucker likes to. He likes the ejaculation of other men. That's what it is. It says So it says why not? Sean liked. He likes to play around it. Then what? Said I'll take a shower and get ready for the next one. Bumbleclot. What? The next one. Yo, she would just. She said she would take a shower and get ready for the next one, like the next nigga. Typically, how many rounds would you go? Objection. That was overruled. Jane says every entertainer was different. Sometimes it was 3. So sometimes niggas would like nut 3 times on her. Okay. Not 3 different niggas. It says would decide. He says who would decide if you could stop or when you were tired? She starts crying. She's like, Diddy. So she says, Sean. She said, do you need a moment? She's crying. She says, I'm sorry. What was your question? She says, how did you say you wanted to stop? Jane says, I would say I'm hungry. I would make little faces. Jane says, I'd send him subtle cues. Comey says, that's the AUSA. What would he say? He'd say, you're not getting tired on me, are you? Let's go out on a high note. Let's finish strong. Yo, Diddy was a fucking coach. Yo, let's finish strong, yo. Yo, let's get this nut up on out of this nigga. Come on now. It's like a football coach. You know? When you hit that hole, just make sure you hold the ball and just finish up strong. God damn.
To be yelling in the
What would
mic.
Sean give you to keep you awake and having sex with the entertainers? She says ecstasy. Comey says, did you ever cry after one of these hotel nights? She says twice. Tell us about the first time you cried. I thought it was a date night, a one-on-one. But he said there would be an entertainer, but just a quick one. I hung on to that, but for 18 hours. What? After 18 hours and 3 rounds with the entertainer, Sean said he had to leave. I started crying. Comey says, were you with someone else? Jane says, I was with Sean. Wow. So 18 hours with the guy, 3 rounds. Diddy says, all right, yo, listen, I got to call. I got to leave. So you could imagine these women are doing this thing supposedly to pleasure Diddy, but essentially at some point, Diddy would like not, it's interesting the dichotomy of the freak off. They're having sex with other men for Diddy's enjoyment, but they want to make Diddy happy so much. Their enjoyment is that after Diddy gets his little kink out, they would have sex with Diddy and they'll be like, oh, okay. All right, everything is good because now I fucked Diddy and he's good and he's happy, sexually satisfied. She feels kind of empty after she fucks an entertainer for 18 hours. And when Diddy was supposed to fuck her, he tells her, I got to run. And that probably, caused an emotional response, so she started crying. So were you with someone else? Jane says, I was with Sean. It was in the Waldorf of Beverly Hills in the early of our relationship. He said, what did Sean say? Jane says, he said, are you crying? Like he was looking disgusted at me. Then he just sat there listening to music. I was clinging to him. He said he could move things around with his family and I could go home with him. I just wanted to be in his arms after all that. Comey says, and after the second time, Jane says, I was in the shower after one of those nights. So I guess, the second time she was crying, she was in the shower after she just got boned and piped out by all these men. And she starts stuttering, and AOSA says, is your memory spotty? What do you remember? She says, I was so high. Like I was having sex with Paul. Then I was in the shower with Sean. He said, stop it. I'm too high. Stop. He said, Paul? Who's Paul? He said, Paul's one of the entertainers. So were there hotel nights? Were these hotel nights work for you? So they're almost asking her, like, are you a sex worker? Okay? They're literally just asking her that. Okay? Were hotel nights work? Did you consider it a job? Like you had to do fucking? Objection. It got overruled. She says, yeah, it was work from start to finish. 50 was right. She's a little sex worker. 50 was right. 50 was right. 50 was right, bro. Damn, it was work from start to finish.
But how you go from...
What did you do to get them to end soon?
Nah,
I try to have sex with the entertainers fast. So what did you do to speed things up? I do foreplay and I bring them into the room. Sean would say, slow it down, girl. Slow it down, baby girl. More foreplay. What words would he use? It's an objection, time frame. So that's fair. It says, remember she says early in the relationship, May to October 2023. So AUSA says May 2021 to October 2023. What would Sean say? Jane says he'd say, I'm not ready to see that yet. So I guess when she was trying to rush to fuck because she wants it to be over because she's like, all right, if I fuck quickly, it's over quickly. Diddy would say, no, slow it down, baby girl. Slow it down. Defense asks for a sidebar. The judge says, sure. Holy. They come back again. Comey says, how did you feel? Jane says, I just wanted to be with Sean at the end. Said, where would you go? I would go to his residence. He said, was any part of these hotel nights you enjoyed? She said, yes, just being with Sean. Comey says, would he text him? I don't know who that. Are they saying, did he text the sex workers? I don't know. I guess, or what would you text him? Maybe that was the thing. Jane says, yeah, I would text him to say I love you. So did you text him that you wanted to have sex? Jane says, yes, I would text him that I wanted to have sex, but with him. AUSA says, did you ever text him that you ever wanted to have sex with others? Jane says, yeah, I did. Oh my God, that's a freak. That's a freak. But again, remember, this is under the context of this is a woman who supposedly is victimized. She never really wanted to have sex with other people, but she basically is claiming that she would indulge in Diddy's fantasy to the point she would text Diddy to say, who you want me to fuck today type shit, you know? Wow. She said, yes. I would text him and say, no, I wanted to have sex with others because it was his fantasy. Said, did you tell you wanted to text? Huh? Yes. Did he tell you what to text? Yes. I guess she was texting the sex workers. He asked, what do you want? Be explicit. AUSA says, why did you write these things? He says, I wanted to make my lover happy. He says, look at this one from November 9th, 2021. What did you write? She said, I wrote, I'm horny for you. Comey says, you don't have to read it, but you did write it. You wrote, I want to suck Paul's dick. Why did you write that? So I guess she texted Diddy that she want to suck Paul's dick. They're asking her, why'd you write that message? She says, I knew me saying that. I knew it would turn Diddy on. Who was Paul? An entertainer. They've asked that twice now. You've texted him that you wanted to stop having hotel nights, right? She says, yes. Comey says, what did you write here? Jane says, I'm so much more than being left in a dark room. My heart is breaking. I don't want to play this role in your life anymore. I feel it's the only reason you pay for the house. We need to talk like adults. Comey says, how long had, yo, the things, chat, this is the thing about entertainment, man. Anytime, ooh, okay. My favorite type of text is right here. Ooh, Lee. That's a business text. It says, send me your wire info. I like that a lot. Anyway, are they arresting somebody in regards to Skrilla's shooting? We'll get to it. Cool. So. Yo, the things you see some of these women who live this extravagant lifestyle, this is what I always tell people who are regular, you know? I was having a conversation with a group of people the other day, and they were telling me, they said, you're living the life. And I was saying to them, I'm like, no, we're all human. We like happiness is something that is forever fleeting, and we're always chasing no matter what you have. If you have money, you start looking at other things. If you don't have,
stop it. No, you living the life. You got it. You're a millionaire. There's no other way around it, bro. You living the life. Anybody who's a millionaire gonna be looking around at other things they can afford. Yes, man, you living the life. I mean, trying to lie to us, dog.
Have money, you then chase money. You think money is happiness. When you get money, it's something else. You think it's family, you get family, then it's something. Like happiness is something that's forever fleeting. Yeah. And their thing to me was like, you know what? Well, you're saying this from a place of privilege because you have money. And I said to them, I'm like, yo, listen, what a lot of people don't realize is that once you check that box of having money or you live whatever lifestyle, you realize like it's the simple things that really like, it's like lack of family. Like, I wish I had a son. Real talk. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this. I'm saying this because I think a lot of times when people look at these entertainers or these influencers' lifestyle, and let's go to 50 Cent's baby mama, for example, right? I know a lot of people who would look at her lifestyle, Daphne Joy, and they would say, it looks so glamorous. But the shit that these people do to maintain that lifestyle and to keep the lifestyle going on, like when you look at this, you're like, oh, yo, she gotta be, it gotta be a blast. Like, and I'll give you another story. I'll make it real quick. Who's PJ Washington's like new girl? PJ Washington girlfriend. Okay, this girl right here. I've heard several women tell me she's living the life. Like women like this girl. I don't know who she is, but she's PJ Washington's new girl. And apparently she does a really good job of showing people her life. And other women just envy it. And they're like, oh, damn, she got everything that makes someone happy. Now, remember what I said about happiness, right? Number one, it's usually a facade and it's always fleeting. So people look at this woman and they're like, yo, he's always, like, she has the perfect man, she has this, she has the car, she has whatever. And the reality is that Instagram is a facade. And we've seen this in a case earlier with I believe it was Mia, right? Where Mia basically said, yeah, Instagram, that wasn't really my true reality. I really say that to say, when you see some of these influencers and you're seeing all the lifestyle they're living like Daphne Joy, you got to think about how much how many pints of piss, how much, ounces of semen they have, digested to get there. That's what it was. She literally was doing these things, no matter how good this looks online. She was doing things to maintain a lifestyle. She was sucking dick. She was getting peed on. She was getting ran through by multiple people. Now, when you don't understand that context of why she's getting what she's getting, you're going to sit back and you're going to just look at the lifestyle like, oh my God, look at this house. And you're going to be like, yo, damn, if only I could get a house like that. If you're a female, are you down to go fuck 8 niggas a night? Are you down to get peed on? Are you down to fucking start massaging this nigga with semen from other men? So that's the interesting part. And I know I probably went on this little, I didn't need to go on this little exit route in terms of trying to make a point here. But it just kind of shows how dark her life was. Like, her life at that point, she is fucking and doing whatever Diddy wants to maintain a lifestyle that she probably felt like she was imprisoned by at that point. Because here's the thing. I always say this about men and women. Most men, so I'm speaking in generalities, men never downgrade sexually. Women never downgrade lifestyle-wise. So when you were with 50, you got treated to a certain type of lifestyle. It's impossible for her to go down. She don't want to go down and now have to, get a job, right? Think about this. She's doing all these things. She just didn't want to get a job. She wanted a sugar daddy. She probably it was more than a sugar daddy because she looks beautiful. It's probably a bunch of dudes who would pay her some money or pay her rent. She wanted a lit guy. She wanted a guy in the music industry. She probably was attracted to some of that fanfare that came along with it. And you get to see she was down to do a lot to keep that lifestyle, okay? I'm sorry I went on that little detour, but here we go. So she said she texted Diddy, I'm so much more than being left in the dark of a hotel room. My heart is breaking. I don't want to play this role in your life anymore. I feel it's the only reason you pay for the house. So she's acknowledging the only reason why you paid for my house is because I keep doing these free calls for you. We got to talk like adults. So how long has he been paying for your rent? 5 months or so. AUSA says, did you see drugs in the hotel rooms? They objected. It was overruled. James then says, yeah, there was ecstasy, Molly, cocaine, pink powder. I think that's called Tusi. Says, who gave the drugs to you? She said, Sean. Comey says, did you ever see any of the entertainers? Okay, I can't see that. Y'all ever seen any of the entertainers taking drugs? Jane says, no. That was my one rule. I told them they couldn't take drugs, the entertainers, the escorts. I didn't want them to be out of control when they were with me. It's kind of interesting because she's kind of delicate. She kind of comes off a little bit like, very, remember, she's in her 30s. She's not like Cassie, just, let's get lit. Like, no. She's a little bit womanly, but she's doing these things and she claims Diddy's teaching her new things. But she didn't want like dirty sex. You could tell. She was like, could they use condoms? Diddy was like, ain't no fucking condoms up in my freak off. Fuck a condom, right? Then she would basically prevent them from doing drugs that, they wouldn't probably get aggressive with her or start doing things that could make it out of control because sometimes, drunk sex or high sex could be a little bit different, right? AUSA Comey says, why did you feel you had to take these drugs? Jane says, otherwise it would be too real. I wanted to. I don't know. And then she's crying again. He said, I wanted to feel like it would make things easier. I guess they say early, but easier. Did you ever do hotel nights without drugs? She says twice. Once with Paul. She's mentioned Paul multiple times now. Comey says, why didn't you take drugs that time then? She says, I didn't want to do that to my body. But it's real, too real. So I asked Sean for a pill. Did he give you a pill? Yes, I felt better. So the second time, she says, I didn't, so she didn't take drugs twice. Once it was Paul. Maybe this was with Paul. The second time, she says her partner was taking too many pills, so she wanted to stay sober. Jane says, he said, I'll do 30 days without drugs, but let's have one last sobriety party at the L'Hermitage. Comey says, how did it last? Jane says, too long, 18 hours. AUSA says, what happened? Jane says, the first guy, the second guy, I wasn't feeling too well. I threw up. I told Sean I threw up. Comey says, what did you say? He said, that's good. Now be ready for the third guy. Holy shit. Nah, Diddy's a demon. Diddy's a demon, chat. Diddy is a motherfucking demon. She fucked 2 dudes, and she's throwing up. Diddy says to her, hold on, girl. We got to get to the 3rd nigga. Wow. Does anyone know somebody with this type of kink? By the way, this type of kink, if it's consensual, there's nothing wrong with it. We could call it weird. But there's people that are cuckolds, and that is normal in certain precincts. Does anybody know anybody who is into this type of stuff? Because it's a little bit alarming for me. Remember I said that with Cassie? You know, I was theorizing. I said, like, he never treated, I believe, Kim Porter like this. So I said, something must have happened with Cassie that he lost all respect for her and wanted to just denigrate her, disrespect her, and demean her. But I'm actually backing up off that point. Maybe that's not how he looked at it. He didn't look at it as demeaning and degrading and everything like that. Because look, he was with Cassie for 11 years. He met her when she was 19. Look at this woman here. This woman is in her 30s. She's already a baby mama for another lit person. It's impossible that he's just trying to like punish this. He doesn't have history with her like that. Or maybe he's doing it. I don't know. Maybe he's doing it because he don't like 50. No, but that don't sounds like he genuinely enjoys this shit, right? I told Sean I just threw up. What did he say? He said, that's good. What? He said, that's good. Now be ready for the 3rd guy. He's here. How did you feel? I felt disgusted. I was repulsed. I was too mad at myself. Hold on one second. Oh, never mind. Okay. Hold on. Okay. She said, I was mad at myself. I was mad I let myself get into this. Comey said this would be a good time to break, so they did break. And they broke in an hour. Then they came back. During the break, Combs in an animated conversation with Ignifilo, Shapiro and Steele, he's talking with his hands. So Diddy is, again, we've heard this multiple times. Diddy is like really quarterbacking his own defense. He's always talking to his defense attorneys. And apparently, from what we've heard about how court looks, while they're in court, they are, while they're questioning witnesses, they'll look back at Diddy, and if Diddy be like, they'll let the witness go. But if, it's like they're almost looking at Diddy to say, should we keep grilling? Should we keep going? So they're doing a lot of things for the amusement of Diddy. Okay? Let me a second. Let me see what it says. Just says, okay. Okay, so they take a break. They bring back Jane Doe and the jury. Okay? Give me a second. They take a break. All rise. It said, did Sean ever run out of drugs during a hotel night? She says, yes. They said, what happened? He would call one of the assistants or the butlers to bring more drugs. Sometimes he even called security. Comey says, what assistants? He'll call Frank or he'll call John. AUSA says, let me show you a photo of Brendan. Ooh, remember Brendan? Do y'all remember Brendan? They called him the drug mule for Diddy. So he was a former basketball player. This is him right here.
Because again,
this is 25-year-old Brendan Paul. He's a former Syracuse University basketball player, but he's better known off the court as P. Diddy's alleged drug mule. These allegations date back to February, when a bombshell civil lawsuit against P. Diddy called out Brendan Paul by name, listing him as someone who allegedly acquires and distributes Diddy guns and drugs. This was the lawsuit filed by Rodney Jones, better known as Lil Rod. He's P. Diddy's former producer, who laid out a laundry list of serious allegations against Diddy. Lil Rod claims Diddy sexually assaulted him, groomed him to have sex with celebrities, and was the kingpin in a gun, drug, and sex trafficking empire. Similar allegations against Diddy had already been brought forward back in November of last year, when 4 civil suits were filed against Diddy. That includes suits from his ex-girlfriend.
Okay, so we know who Brendan Paul is. Okay, so Brendan, that's who that is. Who from security did he call for drugs? Fahim. Sean called him Fa. AUSA, who brought the drugs? Guido. He brought mostly ecstasy, Molly, and Xanax, and Coke. So did you ever take Xanax? She says, yes, after I put Sean to sleep. Holy.
Oh, shit.
Did you ever carry drugs for Sean? Yes, from LA to Miami. KK told me I'll have security come out and give you a package. I asked, is it safe and is it okay? What did KK tell you? She says, it's fine. I do it all the time. Comey says, where did Sean? Okay, so again, Christina Karama is actually implicated in giving drugs over to these people that or to this, you know, to Daphne Joy that she had to transport for him, okay? KK told me I'd have security come out and give you a package. I asked if it's safe and okay. What did she tell you? She says, fine, I do it all the time. So again, KK, his name is coming up. I'm wondering why she's not a co-conspirator. Comey then says, did you move drugs for Sean another time? She says, yes, in my luggage from LA to Miami. There, Sean and I used them. They were ecstasy. Before May and October 2021, who reached out to the entertainers? Jane says, Sean. Then who did it after that?
I did not know I was gonna get burnt out like this quick. Oh my god, it's that blunt though. Tomorrow as a Buffett, I ain't even know try tomorrow, so I can watch this tomorrow before work. I might sleep, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch a little bit more.
She says, me. Okay? Comey says, why did you start choosing? She says, I didn't want it to be a stranger. I assessed the dynamic of our relationship. We were walking porn. And I saw a performer and said, that one. Why did you want to choose? I couldn't get away from this. Comey says, who did you choose? I chose Sly Williams. I called him Chef. He had a passion for cooking. What were you and Sean doing? We were having sex on ecstasy. We were talking about Sly's size. Sean was acting all flirtatious about it. What? Well, Diddy's gay. So Diddy was acting flirtatious about how big the nigga's dick was. Who the hell is Sly Williams? Sly. That's a basketball player? Who's Sly? Anyway. Jane says, I sent Sly a message over Instagram. Comey said, did he respond? Jane says, yes. I told him I was a fan of his work. Maybe we should meet up one day. We did a FaceTime. Sean was there. What happened? It got hot and steamy. I asked him to show me himself. Comey says, did he show you his genitals? Yes. And I was casting from my phone to Sean's television. So Diddy was watching, probably jerking off like, oh yeah, you tell that nigga to show you his dick. So Diddy's jerking off to that nigga's dick. Diddy's gay as shit, bro. He gay as shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. Diddy's like a different level of gay. Like, yo, Diddy's past the levels of gay of like a nigga like Lil Nas X. Diddy's extra gay. AUSA, how did you get Sly from Atlanta to LA? I told Sean I would arrange his flight. I booked it online on Expedia. Sean paid me back. What happened? He was cute and sweet, but he was nervous too. It was my first time. First time what? Contacting an adult film star. I told him it was me and my partner. He said, fine. What hotel was it? The L'Hermitage, I believe. Jane says, it was routine. The oils wouldn't come out. I'd be in a uniform. Then dance, then sex. Okay? Comey says, what was Sean doing? Masturbating. Then who invited him the next couple of times? I did. I suggested it was Sly. He was familiar to me. Comey says, where else did you meet Sly? The Trump Hotel. The Trump Hotel in New York? Yes, I would book his flights from Atlanta. And did you paid him afterwards? Yes, I would pay him $2,000 to $4,000. Okay, so Diddy stepped up the amount of money he's paying these guys to slang cock. Objection. Comey says, where did you get the cash to pay Sly? It says, well, from Sean, from the draw. Sometimes we use Cash App. AUSA says, was there a second adult entertainer you would reach out to? She says, yes, Anton. I think Anton Harris. That was his stage name. I don't know his real name, though. Holy. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. I ain't got no choice but to go lay it down. I ain't gonna lie. I don't even want to doze off on the screen. I ain't even got that shit. Hey, but I just wanted to come check in on my little break. Check in. You act like I never even came on here. I'm about to go lay down. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna be able to stay up at all. Before I smoked that blunt, I was up. I promise you. Before I smoked that blunt, I was like, okay, I got a couple hours in me, man. I ain't got shit in me. I swear it was like that. Whoa. I can't get this weed pen right for nothing. Damn, I can't even get this shit working, man. Fuck. This shit done. I ain't got no more weed pens either. Fuck, this is it. It's all good. Yeah, I'm about to goddamn go lay down, though, man. Y'all stay blessed.